Hey guys, today we're going to talk about arithmetic sequences and series. So, arithmetic means that we add or subtract the same value to get the next term. That value that we add or subtract is called the common difference, or D. So some examples of arithmetic sequences. Here we've got 7, 11, 15, 19. So we know we have to, since it's arithmetic, we're adding or subtracting the same thing every time. So from 7 to 11 we added 4. From 11 to 15 we added 4. From 15 to 19 we added 4. So since we kept adding 4 every time, we know that our common difference is 4. Go ahead and find the common difference in the next one. All right, so let's think of a way that we could maybe write an equation for these lines or these sequences, right? So like on that first one, we know our common difference is 4. So since I'm adding 4 every time, that's kind of like our slope, right? So I'm going to have 4 n times the number of terms, n is the number of terms. Now on that first one, my first term is 7, right? So if I plug in 1 there, what do I have to add to 4 to get to 7? I have to add 3, right? So to find the next term, a sub n equals 4n plus 3. Go ahead and try to find the rule for the next one. Good deal. So we knew that our common difference was -5, so that's kind of like our slope, -5n. And then we were like, okay, so if we plug in 1 for n, what do I have to do to -5 to get to 2? I have to add 7, right? So the explicit formula for that sequence is going to be -5n plus 7. Now, going and working through that every time can get a little bit tedious. So we actually have a formula for this. This is the nth term of an arithmetic sequence, or also the explicit formula. Sometimes they're going to ask it in 2 different ways. So equation for the nth term or the explicit formula, both the same thing. All right, so to get the nth term, I have to use a sub 1. A sub 1 is my first term. Remember, D is that common difference. N is the term number that we're looking for. And 1 is 1. Good deal. Now, in your IB kiddos, when you have your IB formula booklet, this is in there. I think they might use U's instead of A's, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so what we want to do first is find the nth term of the arithmetic sequence whose common difference is 3 and first term is 2. So let's start filling in what we know. We want the formula, so we're going to have a sub n at the beginning. That's okay, so this term is. Our first term we found out was 2. So we know that's a sub 1. And it says that my common difference is 3, so that means D is equal to 3. Cool. So we have 2 plus 3 times, and then n minus 1. N is our variable here. Now, you can absolutely leave it like this, especially if you're on an IB exam and it says just find the formula and move on with your life. However, sometimes you're going to have to use that formula for a lot of different stuff. You're going to have to plug in a whole bunch of stuff in for n and then solve. So if it's helpful, and sometimes it is helpful, to go ahead and simplify that guy. So if we simplify it, we end up with 3n minus 1. So that's much easier to plug things into and solve rather than 2 plus 3 n minus 1. Cool. All right. Now let's get a little bit more complicated. So we want to find the formula for the arithmetic sequence described. Okay, so first of all, we want to remember that a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus d times n minus 1. All right, so first of all, they give us our 4th term and our 13th term, right? So we don't have the first term or the common difference quite yet, but we can find that common difference. So let's think about what's happening here. They give us our 4th term, right? And then I will add the common difference to get the 5th term, add the common difference to get the 6th term, add the common difference to get the 7th term, add the common difference to get the 8th term, add the common difference to get the 9th term, add the common difference to get the 10th term, add the common difference to get the 11th term, add to get the difference to get the 12th term, add the common difference to get the 13th term. And once I add all of those common differences, that's going to be equal to my 13th term, right? Okay. So we know that a sub 4 was 20. And then I had this common difference. Between 4 and 13, how many times did I add that common difference? Yeah, 9, right? Plus 9d equals, and then my 13th term was 65. Now, here's one thing that I want to point out to you real quick. That number 9, here's how we get that. We took our later term number minus our earlier term number. So we knew how many times we had to add that common difference. So we had to take 13 minus 4. All right, so now we'll go ahead and start solving for D. So we'll subtract 20 on both sides and get 9D equals 45. So that means that D is equal to 5. So now we have our common difference of 5. Woohoo! But remember, we also need to have our first term. So we knew our 4th term was 20, right? And now we know that our common difference is 5. So that means that the 3rd term was 15. The 2nd term then had to be 10. So that means that the 1st term is 5. So you just have to work backwards from whatever you were given to find out what that 1st term was. So since I'm going backwards, I have to subtract 5 every time. Good deal. So we've got our common difference. We've got our 1st term. Now we can write the equation of the arithmetic sequence. So a sub n equals, we just found out that a sub 1 was 5 plus, and then we found out that our common difference was also 5 times n minus 1. You're more than welcome to leave it just like that. Okay. Let's try this one. So we have a sub 3 is equal to 19, and a sub 15 is equal to negative 1.7. All right. So I know the 15th term is equal to the 3rd term plus the common difference. And then from 3 to 15, how many times do I add that common difference? Yeah, I add it 12 times, right? And I know I'm adding it 12 times because that's 15 minus 3, the number of my terms subtracted. So we know that a sub 15 is negative 1.7. We know that a sub 3 is 19 plus 12 times d. So I'm going to subtract 19 on both sides to start solving. So we end up with negative 20.7 equals 12d. Then we'll divide by 12 on both sides, so D will equal negative 1.725. Okay, now that would be really annoying to count backwards with that, right? So here's another way to do it. By the way, please, oh my goodness, please, if you would like to. Okay, so a sub 3 is 19. So then I have to add that 1.725. Oopsies, this should be 2. And then you go back and find the first one. If you want to do that, please, absolutely feel free, since you need to add it. Or here's another way to go about it. So we already know that a sub n equals a sub 1 plus the common difference times n minus 1, right? Well, let's use the fact that a sub 3 is equal to 19. So a sub 3, so that means my term number is 3, so that will go in for n. We just found out our common difference was negative 1.725. We don't know what the first term is, but we know that this third term is 19. So now we can go through and solve for a sub 1. 19 equals a sub 1 plus, and then we'll take negative 1.725 times 2, right? Let me grab my calculator real quick. Then we've got a negative 3.45. So we'll add that negative 3.45 to both sides, and then we'll end up with 22.45. And if you would have added down here 1.725 again to keep working your way backwards, what do you know? You end up with 22.45. So either way you want to go about finding that first term is totally fine with me, whichever way makes the most sense to you or is easiest in the moment. All right, so now we're actually going to have to write this equation, right? So we have a sub 1 or a sub n equals, my a sub 1 was 22.45 plus my common difference was that, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to go into the next line, was that negative 1.725. And we're going to have to multiply that by n minus 1. And if you'd like to clean it up, you can, but there's really no need to. Go ahead and try that last one on your own. All right, so on this one, between my 5th term and my 4th term, I had to add that common difference 9 times. So we found out that that common difference was 2.5. So instead of subtracting 2.5 each time to get the term before it to get to my first term, I went ahead and just plugged in what I knew into my my general formula and solved for my first term and got 6. So my equation for that is going to be 6 plus 2.5 times n minus 1. And you can fix it up or you can't. It's up to you. All right, see you guys later.